It's 6:02. Oh yeah, Liz, Cape Cod is a team. Good. GNCC reps. So yeah, if you can join, if you have somebody, if there's a team from your club here, or if you just want to watch U18, they'll stream two games every session from I think it's sheet C and D on the Rock Creek Curling YouTube channel. So I want to make this one maybe a little more interactive than in the past. So I'm going to try not to talk as much, but I'll start with just a couple updates. Bag tags. Oh, my audio is coming in and out. Is that for everybody?
That's correct.
Yeah, the audio's in and out.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely audio's in and
All
out.
right. Well, give me, hang on everybody for a minute. I'll try to find another spot. I didn't give everybody motion sickness. How's that? Is that any better? Or now I'm muted.
Nope, that's good.
Okay, good. It was just so loud out there, but I'm in their office now. Okay, so it's just start with some updates. Like I said, there's a couple sections here I'm looking for a bunch of feedback from all of you on, but bag tags will start going out next week. Just if you didn't see my email, we have a different vendor this year and hopefully a much smoother process. I would suggest, and we have put out notices on that, but if you can tell your club or your members to make sure they check their addresses in My USA Curling Sport 80, make sure their address is correct in their profile. Otherwise, they may not get their bag tag. They will go out in waves too, by the way. But hopefully just 2 waves. But the first one's going to go out pretty quickly here in the next week or so. Actually, I think on Monday or Tuesday they'll go in the mail. Membership processing. If you have if your club submits your dues, we're pretty much up to date on all of those. But if someone is having trouble because we haven't uploaded your roster from a club, we do bulk uploads of rosters from member clubs that submit rosters and dues. If they and then we invoice back. If somebody's trying to upgrade and they don't see their membership, it's probably because we haven't quite gotten to that bulk upload. So I would just suggest that you could reach out to us, and if somebody's trying to, it's typically just on upgrades, reach out and we'll get that resolved. Scheduling courses and any feedback on courses at your club. I don't know how many people on here have had courses. I think we talked about it a little bit last time. But if you do want to schedule a course again, reach out. We've done a number of instructor courses lately. There is a Ice Tech certification class happening in Superior, Wisconsin. I think Mike's on the call. That's just before the Nationals in Duluth. But if you're looking for courses, please reach out and we'll get those going for you. And if you have any feedback on courses, we do try to reach back to the club. But if you get any anecdotal feedback from members, positive or negative, anybody in this group, I hope you'll share either with this group in a call or directly with us. Couple things I want to talk about conversion rates and just see if we can get a little discussion going around things that might be working and might not be. I guess I could start just, how many clubs do a beginner league for like a learn to curl followed by beginner league? Is anybody planning to do that, especially during next year's Olympic Games? And what sort of success rate? When I talk about conversion rate, by the way, quickly I'll add is that, I think our typical conversion rate of somebody coming out to try curling and then committing to a beginner league probably falls around 10%, which isn't terrible for a sport, but I think we could probably get it higher. So happy to hear anything, or if you want to start throwing things in the chat, please feel free to do so.
Hey, Dean, this
Well,
is
I'll
Mike
get it-
from Spear.
Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, thanks. I can talk easier and I can type. So
Great.
we've had a beginner league. We call it instructional league for a number of years. We've got a new person took over this year, and she's just doing a phenomenal job. I'll have to find out from her what she thinks the conversion rate is, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's close to 50%.
Great.
And essentially the way it's set up, it's a drop-in league. So there's no set teams. People, whoever shows up that week, they divide up into teams and they have games. Prior to that, they have 1 hour where anybody that wants to come down and practice, we have instructors available to help them with specific things. If they don't have anything specific they want to work on, we've got structure. We kind of go through a sequence of increasingly difficult exercises and so forth. So it's really worked well. That league is, it's just really great to see all the activity down there on Sunday evening. So
Great. I mean, 50% is a pretty good conversion rate. I know there's already some clubs like a Broomstones, for instance, that where, I know one of our issues and one of the reasons we need a bigger facility footprint is a lot of clubs are full, but clubs that are not full, if anybody wants to build off of that.
Dean, this is
Hi,
Phil
Dean.
Bruce from Cape Cod.
Hey, Phil.
At our club, we are pretty close to capacity, but our conversion rate has really skyrocketed in past years. However, I think the number has remained about constant. So what we've done is we've really compressed, or not compressed, but we've cut down on the number of members of the Learn to Curl class.
Okay.
But we're getting we're keeping the same amount that we used to when we used to really jam the classes full.
Okay.
So we're keeping the same amount, but our conversion rate is much higher, and we're also getting much better prepared curlers because we do have a developmental league and a Learn to Curl. They're sort of combined, where the first 4 weeks, 3-4 weeks is all instruction, and then that morphs into a league, and it's full with brand new curlers in the Learn to Curl program, but also all of our, well, not all, but whoever, any of our 5 and under curlers that want to join are in that league also, and it's all instructor led. So we always have someone helping out in the hack, someone helping out in the house. It just seems to have really given us higher quality members. They know they hit the ground running when they get ready for the regular leagues.
So do you know like what number you went to from before? Like how much you made it smaller? So what you found your ideal size was?
Well, before we used to go with we're a 3-sheet club, so we go with 24 Learn to Curl max.
Yeah.
And now we're down to about I want to say either 8 or 12, and our conversion rate is well up into the 70%.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just want to say with Phil, this is Liz from Cape Cod, that, yeah, we have, I think, 8 this session in Learn to Curl. And last session, we had a few more than that. But then there's about 20 other people who are 5 and under curlers that are curling on the other 2 sheets while the 8 people are working on 1 sheet this particular session
Got
for
it.
instruction. It works out really well, and we have had a lot of success with it, and I will echo Phil saying that they come out very well prepared for league curling. And because they have a person helping them, even they're skipping in their games, and they've got a coach. So there's a coach at each end of the ice on all 3 sheets
Yeah.
helping everyone.
Yeah. I always love that with private events to have somebody at each end. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Teresa from Sioux Falls can maybe an arena club perspective, where I know it can be a little more challenging.
Yeah, so we recently kind of revamped our Learn to Curl using the lovely program that USCA has, where we now have we separate them, and there's 4 on each sheet, and it seems.
Oop, you just cut out.
Can you hear me?
Yep, now you're back.
Yeah. So when we revamped how we do it and kind of stopped really focusing on the little things in our Learn to Curls, we have noticed that people are now wanting to come back. Like, we had a sold out New Year's Eve Learn to Curl, and we had like 43 people there, and I had numerous people ask, like, when is league? Do you have a mini league? And such like that. And we don't have a technical, like a novice league, but each beginner team that signs up for a league, we have either a curler that is experienced, or one that has, is even just like a couple years in, will help them throughout that league. And so it's not that we're just we're not helping them throughout, because it is tough at arenas to have a novice league. And I feel like we're now seeing maybe our mini leagues could be that, because we do have, I think, 1 or 2 teams on our 8-team mini league now that are brand new. And I don't even think some of them have gone to a Learn to Curl. They just noticed that we're getting the trials and they wanted to try curling.
That's
So
great.
I think our retention is going to go up, but we weren't doing enough as a club, I think, to have them come back. Like, we weren't contacting them after Learn to Curls, and so we've changed that, and it really helps.
Great. Yeah, I think one thing I think we've learned is we have to be careful on that very first Learn to Curl, not to bore people, right? It's always easy to start talking too much about the scoreboard or the Scottish roots of the sport. So that's why one reason I like a 1-hour Learn to Curl, so people want more. Brett has his hand up. Board Chair Brett Jackson.
Yeah, so in Detroit, we do a 3-week Learn to Curl. I think I put this in the chat last week, or last month. And the first and second weeks are just instruction. The third is a mini bonspiel, where 2 people from the Learn to Curl class are matched up with 2 members of the club, and they play a 4-end game. They come in, take a break. We feed them pizza and beer, and then they go back out for another 4 ends, and we feed them pizza and beer, after the game. And the retention from that 3-week thing is north of 40%.
Great. Yeah, I mean,
But having members, we have 2 members on each team, usually a second and a skip. And I think having those members kind of talk them through the gameplay and just be with them every step of the way is and sitting with them and drinking with them is part of what keeps people coming back.
how do you have any issues recruiting people to do that? To be on the
No,
ice?
the members love it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, the members love to do it. It's a fun event.
Somebody mentioned a triples league, which was Casey from Rochester, which I think is a great idea. I do love triples for the fact that it gives everybody a chance to play all positions.
Our goal with doing the triples league is to get people comfortable in every position. And then kind of like what others mentioned, most of the teams, unless they said, I want to play with these specific new folks, they have at least one person on the team that's a little more experienced or a more veteran member, just to be able to kind of help them out and get them into the swing of things. And most of them came from a Learn to Curl. That's kind of who we advertised it to. Some of them, it was their first time, so we kind of had to do like a really quick Learn to Curl, just because they were already set up on a team ready to play. So it was kind of like really kind of having them jump into the deep end right away, which I think they caught on quick then. But that triples league, it's only like an hour or two, so it's about as quick as it can go with our limited ice time.
Victoria and Des Moines, they say they don't have any more ice time, so that's always a challenge. But that's what you're going to use to get your dedicated ice facility. So, actually, Jeff mentioned that he says it's interesting their post-Olympic beginner leagues have a lower conversion rate. I don't know if anybody else has experienced that. If there's something we can, I think part of that, I'm guessing, is because of all the people who think it's going to be easy and come out and find it isn't. Might speak to that. I don't know. Has anybody else had that? No. Amy from Ardsley. Hi, Amy.
Hi. What we have problems with is not necessarily converting the Learn to Curl participants to full-time members, but then having them come back for their next full year of curling. So they'll go through, they'll sign up as members for the, the deal, because we have a 6-week Learn to Curl program for $250, and then you can use that $250 towards your full year dues for the first year, which is $500.
Yeah.
So it's like gets you the full year, and then they don't come back for the second year. So that we don't have trouble getting people in the door. But then I think as soon as the price goes up, or they have the reality of playing in the league every night, and maybe it's not as interesting to them, they drop out. So I think it's not necessarily conversion, but retention.
Interesting. Sorry, somebody has a question. Does anyone have experience whether a Learn to Curl class with a single session versus 3 or 4 sessions posing as a mini league Learn to Curl has a better conversion rate to straight members? I'm going to guess that most people find having those 3 to 4 sessions improves conversion rates, although maybe not in Amy's case, but.
Yeah, people sign up.
Hey,
They like it.
Sure. Go ahead. Was that Brett?
Dean, this is Eric. And
hi, Eric.
So we went from single session Learn to Curls. Last year we converted to 4-week, and this year we're doing 3-week, and our retention has gotten much higher by having a multi-week session. I think partly because the people participating are more committed at the get-go to say, I'm going to do 4 weeks than just a one-off. So we actually have now called our one-time sessions a curling experience versus a 4-week or 3-week Learn to Curl session. And the people are much better prepared to join a league after 3 or 4 weeks than just the one goof around session to get them excited. So that's working better for us.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Like Jeremy says, it's lots of bucket listers around the Olympics. I think that's probably true. Elizabeth, who's saying we only have 1 day Learn to Curls and we're starting to see more people want to come try league? Somebody else mentioned that when people are in the instructional league. Oh, that's Teresa. Sorry. Somebody else was saying when they're in the instructional league, you give them the opportunity to sub with in other leagues, which seems like that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, that's us at Columbus. This is Jeff. That's kind of how my wife and I got in during our instructional league. You were basically eligible to sign up for the sub list for any other night league. So you get to apply what you're doing in the instructional league in a real game environment. So that kind of helped us because, Learn to Curl or instructional league, the pace is very different than a game environment, but being able to have that membership benefit of being a sub was super helpful.
Yeah, I think that seems like a good idea. It might actually be a great idea too, towards the end of a season when those sub requests start to go up among regular members. So,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Teresa, I think your hand's back up, or?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that with arenas, or especially with Sioux Falls, we have kind of split leagues, and so usually our full leagues are like 6 to 8 week leagues, and so one day learn to curls work for us, because if we tried an instructional league, it would basically be the same time frame as our ordinary league, and our mini leagues are actually only two nights shorter than our full leagues, and so that's where it is tough for us to do like a 4 week mini, like 4 week learn to curl league, because that's essentially our mini league. And if we don't have time to host that, we will see experienced curlers kind of get, upset, because they don't, like, why, like, they don't have we don't have a lot of ice time regardless. And so if we just have a mini league open to beginners, we can see people react not great to that.
Yeah,
They just want to curl.
right. Separate note, Brett just posted a picture of the newest facility in Petoskey, Michigan in the chat. Is that natural ice, Brett, they have in Petoskey? I know they just joined the one sheeter.
Yeah, I think it is natural ice.
Yeah.
But good for them, right?
Yeah, that's great.
They've been
Yeah.
struggling to.
Yep. We've had a lot of conversations with them lately about coming back. So yeah, good for them. Any other thoughts on just anybody have any clubs talking already about what they might do around the Olympic Games versus what's been done in the past, say? Too far away. Fair enough. Just gonna look at the chin here. What we get. So again, this is the kind of thing too. It'd be happy if people follow up with things, even if you send it to us and we can share it in the next meeting. Would be great. I think obviously there seems to be momentum around, some sort of beginner league, and I imagine every market's a little different, so you probably have to tailor it a bit. But there's, I think there's obviously Detroit's doing something well, and I know Cliff's here from Triangle. I think your conversion rate is pretty high even during the Olympics. So
Yeah,
I would encourage.
we do pretty good with our 8 week instructional league, and we tailor that instructional league to last the whole season, because if we only did 2 or 3 weeks, then we'd have to find places to put people in the middle of the season
Right.
where leagues are already formed
Yeah.
and teams are playing. So we just do a whole season of the instructional league, which is eight weeks. And that's working very well for us. We get a very high conversion rate. Well, I say high conversion rate. If they make it the full 8 weeks, they normally stay. They don't always
Yeah.
make the whole 8 weeks.
Yeah, I mean,
Now
that's gonna happen.
We just finished our 2-hour learn to curls for this season. We put in 129 people came out to our learn to curls. We don't get a lot of members out of that. You're probably right, about 10% out of that 129. Some go right into league, some go to instructional league and carry on. So we're doing very well. And our club right now is probably maxed out. We're scrambling to find places to put people to play, because our demographics are so young.
Yeah.
We don't have anyone playing day leagues. So our days
Yeah.
are empty, except Tuesday and Wednesday morning. We have a Tuesday and Wednesday 2-hour league. That's it. Everything else is at night from 6:30 till midnight. We're running
Yeah.
2 leagues every night, and they're filling up awful fast.
What about
So,
weekends?
well-
What's your weekend schedule like?
Our Sunday is full. We have
Okay.
we have two morning leagues, juniors, two mixed doubles, and then another nighttime league. Saturday is our instructional league, open ice, and then we have college curling and pickup and pizza every other week. So our Saturday nights on and off, either
And what
college or pickup and pizza.
what is your membership at right now, Cliff? You know what your number
Last
is?
I heard, it's about 380 something,
Okay. So,
and
and it's
it's a 4-sheet club.
yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people used to use 100 members per sheet as capacity. I think actually I think if you can find other leagues to start at different hours, you can get beyond that. But I know it gets challenging, although I kept hoping that with
It's
remote work, we'd have more people with more flexible schedules, but I don't know if that's happening.
No, we've tried. We've got someone trying a 6:45 in the morning league. No thanks. Um, not for me. Our Sunday leagues are very early. I think they start at like 8 Sunday morning, and that's 2 leagues in a row.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much filling up every day on the weekend and every night. It's 2 leagues every night, 6:15 and 8:30. So we're pretty much maxed out.
Last question on this.
Getting there.
Yeah. And I've said this before, but we have a 1-hour learn to curl program that I think if your 2-hour learn to curl isn't converting what you'd like, I would suggest considering shortening it so that people don't get tired and cold and actually want to do it again. But the other question I have just for the group quickly before we'll move on is how many clubs do have a league where they have a fall league with a champion and then a winter league with a champion, et cetera, versus a full season? Tori does. I'm seeing that a lot more lately, and I think it's a good idea. Casey, you have your hand up. At my own club, we don't do that, and I think it's actually at least not all our leagues do it, and I've seen it. I think it's good. So we've got that was a hot button, I guess. Michelle, your hand's up. Brett's hand is up, and Eric's hand is up. So let's go, Eric.
And that's the way all of Cape Cod leagues are.
Okay. So a lot of clubs are. I mean, I'm seeing that more and more now. I think it's a good idea. Does anybody have a club where they offer like a half-year membership like that? So if people don't want to commit to the whole year, like you get snowbirds, et cetera. Yeah, Ardsley does. Jeff does. Okay.
Our membership is flat no matter how many times, but we have a separate league fee then. So if they come back, they're technically paying more. But the league
Okay.
fee is specifically pays for the ice rentals.
Got it. Any other thoughts on this whole topic before we move on? Teresa?
Does anyone host a summer league?
I wish we could in New Jersey, but our building's too old and our summers are too hot.
There's ice time available in the summer. We haven't explored it just because of are people busy in the summer? Does it work at other places? But I think this summer with the trials, we are gonna try something. Like we have the capability to have a really long summer league.
Nashville has a summer league, but what I will say is we have trouble filling our summer league more so than the others because we're such a small club. People get burned out of doing 4 leagues per year.
Right. There's a bunch of stuff in chat. I'm just looking at. Curl Vegas does about 7-week leagues in fall and winter. I know a lot of arena clubs do more play in the summer just because of ice availability. Charlotte has fall and spring champs. I just saw that on Facebook. I saw the same. Claire, you have your hand up.
Yeah, so at Bay Area and Coyotes, they're called spring leagues, but they run well through June and sometimes into July. And at Coyotes especially, we kind of use that as an opportunity to put newer curlers into the competitive leagues. So usually for winter and spring league, they'd be like, the same 4 people competitive teams, but then in the summer league, what would happen is all of those teams would break up into 2s, and then newer curlers would be able to join those teams. So it was like a easier way to get the newer curlers into a more competitive environment. But since it's the summer, like it's more chill.
Yeah. Eric has a point. Like if you out in Tahoe, obviously, and the people are out there for this in the summer, there's a lot of activity. So the summer leagues didn't do well. Yeah, and Colonial is on in the summer. Okay. Wine Country curls year round. I mean, I think, look, year-round curling is great. I just think you do have to expect dips probably in the summer. I know I probably wouldn't commit to curling as even myself as much in the summer months, but I wouldn't mind curling, but probably not as much. Great. Well, that's, I think just at future meetings, if people want to have things that doesn't even have to be on the agenda, but I just think this is an important discussion as we head into the Olympics, just about how we maximize. And I know it's unfortunate for some because you're either at capacity or you can't get enough arena ice time, but there's still, I think, room. And one thing I would say for arena clubs is, anybody who has, if you're keeping a good database, even if people don't join, when you get to that dedicated ice, a good database is going to help you. I'll just touch on a couple other things and then we can open it up for more questions. But Dale's Shot of the Week update, we're getting that going. I will say, we call it Shot of the Week, but it's just in case people wonder, we're not doing it every single week. But we do have a new platform for voting on shots that we're going to test out at the men's and women's nationals, thanks to Dick Dawson, our board secretary, and his company. So we'll get some momentum behind it there, and then hopefully we can have it so that's where people can submit shots in the future. We're also talking to Dales about what a prize might look like for the Shot of the Week. So look for another post on Facebook with more looking for nominations from clubs. Ideally, I mean, we are going to do a Shot of the Week during the men's and women's nationals, but what we really like about this is at other times having streamed games from a club and a great shot. It's really what we're looking for. And that's actually what Dales is excited about. Update on men's and women's nationals. Feels like for us at USA Curling, feels like it's coming at us like a freight train. It's just a few weeks away now. But we're feeling pretty good about that in Duluth. If you're in anywhere near Duluth, I think you'll find it's going to be a pretty great atmosphere there this year. If you don't know Duluth and the curling club is actually attached to the arena complex we'll be in. So you can actually go from the curling club to the arena without going outside. So there'll be lots of activity in the club. And then the arena itself is, we're building out a Dale's house at one end, will be at ice level. So lots of things we're trying to do to make it a more energetic atmosphere within. I'm sure there'll be lots of things we wished we had done, but we'll continue to work on that. And if you're anywhere near and you can make it work, I'd encourage you to look at the tickets for that. Same thing for mixed doubles trials, which will be here in February at Rock Creek. And tickets for that are starting to move pretty well. So especially if you're in the West or the Denver area. And I would also tell everybody on the call, if people at your club are asking and I think we've said this a number of times, but I always like to say we can't communicate enough. The qualifying games will be covered by Curling Stadium and us, and will be on Peacock. So there will be a need for people or clubs to subscribe to Peacock, even if just for a month, to watch the qualifier games. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we'll have the playoff rounds, and those will be on a linear network, probably CNBC. one thing I'll say about Peacock, and while our nationals this year will be free again for viewers, and Peacock you will need a subscription, but the more people we can show that, hey, join Peacock because of curling, will only help us as we try to get more coverage of curling on television and NBC. So, for example, lacrosse was on Peacock and they found they got 30,000 new subscribers. So any numbers we can show like that will be great. We are working with NBC to try to put together some sort of promotion around this. Obviously, they have a lot going on in NBC, so we're trying to keep on them about that. But whether clubs subscribe to Peacock during those, and by the way, it'll be the same for Sioux Falls and the team trials in November. But it would be great to see those subscriber numbers go up, and we'll certainly have some communications out to try to push that. Last thing before I open it up for
Dean,
more
is
questions.
that for the?
Yep, go ahead.
Is that for the nationals that's coming up now this month?
No, the nationals will be on YouTube, and we're trying out another platform as well. But they'll be free and available on YouTube, as in the past. Okay. It's just a trial. So just so people know that the trials are technically not our property. It's a United States Olympic Paralympic Committee property. So we manage them and run them. And then it's an NBC property. So the playoffs will be free on if you have CNBC or whatever other network they put it on. But the qualifier rounds will be on Peacock. It'll be basically the same coverage we do for our nationals, because we'll have Curling Stadium do it here at the club in Rock Creek. I think I've mentioned before, but we have been working pretty hard to get ahead on host sites, and we're much better than we were in the past. A couple things we have openings for next year. I'll just mention. Club Nationals is one we don't have a site for next year. Mixed Doubles Nationals is another one we don't have a site for, and Seniors is one we don't have a site for. Men's and Women's Nationals next year are going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina at the Bojangles Coliseum out there. Another time, for Cliff and others, I don't know if anybody here is from the other North Carolina or South Carolina clubs, that we really are trying to make it we hope to make it a North Carolina curling experience or a Southern curling experience and really boost that. The good thing, if you're at one of those clubs, it's good and bad, but because of the Olympics, those will start right after. I was getting Arena Nationals, Jeremy. Don't worry. Those will start. They start literally the day after the closing ceremonies of the Olympics. So what we found in the past, what the organization has seen, is that it's usually pretty well attended if we can make enough people know that, hey, if you watch it during the Olympics, this is your chance to see it live. That worked pretty well, if I remember. I played in 2010 in Kalamazoo, and it worked well there. So we'll do that. Arena Nationals is another one we're looking for a site. Now, I don't know if anybody is on from Dallas-Fort Worth, but Dallas-Fort Worth continues to move toward dedicated ice. If they have dedicated ice by next year, I think we'll probably have it there. But we're certainly open to other clubs at this point too. Wausau did a great job hosting it this past year. It's a great opportunity if you have a dedicated ice club to really help out the arena club community. And my experience has been that those arena curlers are really grateful to the dedicated ice clubs that host that. Just looking here, another one we don't have for next year is 5 and Under Nationals. So we have work to do. It doesn't mean that all of these too, that we haven't had conversations with clubs. I'm just saying that these are ones that are available right now. And if your club is interested in hosting any of those, please connect with Aaron Kaler, our events director, or directly with me. And again, we are working pretty hard with host clubs to make it a better experience than maybe it had been in the past. And I think most of the clubs that have hosted will share that there's a lot more involvement from this organization, and trying to coordinate a few more things to make it a better experience for the club and more profitable. That's one of the big things. We want clubs to do these things and get some money out of them as well. All right, any other questions? Anything that people have heard? I'll throw it wide open here. People have, I know that there are there are challenges at times with My USA Curling and the Sport 80 platform. We feel your pain on that. It's not the most intuitive platform. I will say when I talk to other CEOs of other NGBs that I think I've said this before, nobody loves their platform. And many have told me that they think Sport 80 is the best one. Lauren in member services does a good job with Sport 80. We have weekly meetings with them to try to improve things. So anyways, I just, what I'd say there is just, we recognize there's still things that, even that I don't find intuitive when I'm on it, and we're trying to rectify those. So, but if there's something in particular that a member says that really frustrated them, please let us know. The other thing is, if you contact support in My USA Curling, it does go to us, not to Sport 80. So and then we create a ticket or sort it out from there. So don't be afraid to use that. Lauren's really great at resolving these issues. And then I'll stop and see if anybody else has other things they'd like to discuss or bring forward. While I'm waiting for people to come up with that, we have a good relationship with Dales. I know we wish the rollout into member clubs was going a little quicker, but they are on it. We really want this club kit to go out, and I guess just know that we don't control their sales organization. So obviously we want this to be a productive sponsorship. So we're working pretty hard with them to do that. But if you're not able to get Dales at your club and you want it, please don't be afraid to shoot me another email, even if it's your second or third, and I'll connect with the Dales people. I've done a lot of intros that way that seem to be productive. Phil, you have your hand up.
Yeah, Dean. I know that you guys have your ice technician programs, but I'm wondering, is there anything regarding stone maintenance within those programs, or maybe a video or some sort of instruction on stone maintenance? I'm somewhat comfortable with at least one aspect of it, but I know there's much more things that I don't know about it that I'd like to learn, such as the running band maintenance and the striking band when we need to send those out to get them refurbished. Anything like that.
Well, I'll tell you, Phil, as soon as I throw my out turn and it doesn't curl, you need to get your rocks resurfaced so they curl more. But so, but stone maintenance is part of that World Academy of Sport Training. That's a big chunk of it, I know. But we are going to develop a few more webinars, et cetera, for the ice techs, and hope we'll probably do one on stone maintenance probably in the spring as we get through some other things. But I think that Lauren has that on her list of topics to cover. One other thing quickly, we've migrated to a different platform for our content, and not to bore you with our challenges with software platforms, but that's been a bit challenging at times too, but we're getting closer. It is active right now. If you go on there, we do think in the end it'll be a lot more dynamic. We're going to have sessions you can book with. You'll be able to have book sessions with experts. We're hoping some of our athletes do that, some of our ice techs. So you can check it out if you go through. It's the same Sport 80 sign on. If you go through our house, just know that there's still a few things we're trying to organize better. The coach certification is in the coach level 1 coach course is in there, even though we're trying to make that just a little easier to find and download, et cetera. So, but if you have a moment, actually, it would be great if you check it out. I think you'll probably see some of the things that we're trying to resolve. But if you see other things that you think we may not have noticed, don't be afraid to share those. Matt Sussman has his hand up from Bowling Green.
Thanks. Yeah, so back to the courses. Because we're hosting junior nationals in April, we've been trying to schedule official clinics, level 1 and
Yeah.
2 in March. We don't have to solve it here, but we've been working with Aaron for the last couple months and been waiting patiently to get confirmation that we can have those in March.
Hey, Matt, shoot me an email after this too, and I'll lift it up on the radar for with Susie, our chief umpire.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
yeah.
you.
And I know Eric's saying they'd like to host an ice course clinic in Tahoe. Lauren in that group loves to do those. So I don't know if you've talked to her yet, Eric, but do that. We were concerned the one in Superior right before Nationals wasn't filling up, but then we got a bunch of people signed up at the end. Just for this group, it's not an inexpensive course. And I think that can be seen as a bit of a barrier, but I would encourage clubs to support their ice techs by paying for it. It's not a big outlay for a club, and the reward is you get better ice and you get an ice tech who is excited about it. So yeah, Columbus, that might be a great spot, Jeff. Would love to talk to you about that. Typically what we look for is we like to have 5 people per instructor to make it work. And ideally we're getting, 10, 15. So we need 3 instructors. But absolutely just best person to connect with that is Lauren. She's managing that process, and we'd love to bring more of those out. It's just, I know some people are a little put, it ends up being about a $700 course because you do part of it online with World Curling, and then the session is 2 days. And I know that obviously $700 is not insubstantial. Just know that we invested probably about $12,000 with the World Academy of Sport and training our people and going through sessions with them. So, but we're happy to be on the World Curling program rather than try to develop our own. Claire, is your hand, or Phil, is your hand up, or is that from before?
That was from before, sorry.
All right, no worries. And Matt, thanks. Lauren, Lauren Whitmer in Bowling Green is chairing the junior nationals there, and she got herself and me on a podcast this week that was a lot of fun. So, and she's an excellent speaker on the sport of curling. So hopefully we can get her out in some local media there too.
I'll pass that along. She doesn't do a lot of that, but
she's great.
She's only played for like 3 or 4 years, but she speaks well on it. And I know she wanted to do that. That's one of her favorite. It's like a radio station that she's listened to for a while. And it has a large women listener base. So
yep.
The hope is that kind of increases participation among adult women, picking something up that, it's never too late to try something new. So
yeah, that was a great part of it. We talked a lot about curling and how we want to grow participation among women and why it was a good sport for women. She did a great job of explaining, how curling works and the positions, which, can always get difficult. So she did it in a good way. Brett says he'll go to Tahoe for the Ice Tech course. I think Tahoe would be a great place for the Ice Tech course. Tori wants to go there too.
I just want an excuse to go to Tahoe.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah. Eric, if you can keep your ice in the summer, I'd go to Tahoe for the course and play some golf
Okay, let's do it.
Right.
We're going to take it out for a month, but maybe we'll have a summertime Ice Tech course.
Great.
And we just bought a new ice boss.
Nice.
Being delivered. So we can use the old one to drive around the parking lot and then the new one inside.
It's a good idea. Not still in the works, but we're working with Vegas on hosting the members assembly next year. Probably not in August because I think we might all ignite as we step off a plane. So, but a little later, but not too much later. So look for that. We're trying to coordinate it around their Bonspiel. So there's a few things that need to come into place. So it's not for sure yet, but that's where we're leaning to go. So if there's anybody here from the West or Mopac or just people who like Vegas, we're hoping that we can make that work. And thanks. I don't know if anybody, I think Curl Vegas is on, but thanks to Brad Whitlock and Vegas. Actually, a big shout out to them. They hosted a junior qualifier event this year. They're just doing a lot of good work, and I know World Curling wants to is keen on bringing another event back to Vegas. So that's been discussed as well between World Curling us and Curling Canada. Anything else at 6:52? Tori, we also had a visit to Des Moines too for the nationals, so I'll throw that out there. So we have 26 nationals, but obviously we want to keep on it, and we're looking ahead to 27 and 28. We will have some exciting news just about next year in general. Lots of good events coming to the U.S. Possibly even a Grand Slam. That's not really our event, but Nick Sulsky is at the curling group is pretty excited to bring one to the U.S. So we'll see where that goes.
You
Last
can
thing-
put it in your contract that they have to give us more ice time. How about that, Dean?
Yeah, be happy to do that. Or maybe if Sioux Falls gets a dedicated ice facility after the trials, we'll make that a prerequisite. So, whatever we have to do there. There's one other thing I was going to add, and I can't. Oh, I think I mentioned this before, but we have an RFP for a national curling center. So if anybody wants that, again, just let me know and I'll share that with you. We have cities that are interested in that. We think it's a long-term ambition, but one that we really want to make happen. So it's certainly ambitious, but with the right partners, and there could be more than one. So if you want to see that RFP, or if you think your local government or state government might be interested in being a part of that, let me know. Anything else? Sure, Casey, I'll share that with you. And I'll send you an invite because I know you want to have a discussion on Friday. So. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up. I'll give everybody 6 minutes back, unless somebody wants to throw anything else out. But again, feel free to share anything between this meeting and the next one that we want to talk about at the next meeting. And I would love to continue this conversation about conversion rates, not to beat it to death, but as we get towards the Olympics, I think it's going to be important. And real quick, Amy, I have been meaning to check in with Bob. I don't know what the latest status is there, but I'll check in with him.
Yeah, love to talk to you more about that.
Okay. All right.
Lots of
Thanks,
stuff
everybody.
Yep.
Oh, last
Alright.
thing I'll show, thinking of Ardsley and Amy, we have Derek Kaiser from the Ardsley Club refurbished our men's and women's trophies in the off season. I just picked them up this week. They are not small trophies. They're very impressive. And I'm glad happy to report that the women's trophy is now the same height as the men's trophy. So retained
That's
the
right.
women's cup. So the men's cup is still bigger because it's the original cup. It's the original women's cup, but we made them both the same height. So that was overdue. And now we just have to figure out how to get them to Duluth. So
Looking forward to Kei Sukahara being honored too. So.
oh yeah. Don't give that away too much though yet, Amy. But
Okay. Sorry, we've been talking about it at our club, so
I
didn't
know.
know it was
Yeah.
under wraps.
We're excited
Yeah.
too. I just wanted to wait
Good.
till we had the trophies ready. So
Oh
all
yeah,
right.
everything looks great.
Thanks everybody.